Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition. Alright, let's take a quick look at the item that we got. Negative token. This is a negative token, a flat black disc that appears to have no substance to it at all. Turning it over reveals that it has no third dimension. There is no thickness to this item at all. It gives you some command over creatures of shadow. You can command them to stand still for a few precious seconds. The more powerful the shadow, the less likely it will obey your command. As an added benefit, as long as this token is carried by any of your party members, it acts as a ward against shadows. It will not prevent shadows from attacking your group, but the shadows will find it more difficult to harm you while the token is carried. Also, I want to point out that this icon definitely has a third dimension. You can see it right there. I mean, to be fair, it's really difficult to give something definition in a game like this, especially a dark game like this. But also, you know, if it ever, you know, went onto its side, I mean, how do you hold this? If it has no third dimension, it should also be able to slide right through anything, which would be pretty painful. Anyway. Let's see. We've got this Ebb Creeknees. You see a slightly stooped old man with a full gray beard and a lion's mane of gray hair. He wears a couple of shoulder guards as armor, and he keeps a helmet nearby. He smokes a pipe and carries a pouch of tobacco around his waist. He looks pretty strong, but he's a little plump and also appears to have some sort of breathing trouble.
Well now, aren't you a sight, lad? Never have I seen so many scars blanketing a fella. Like a scar cloak you're wearing. Where you been? Hanging out in a grain thresher? He laughs. Oh, I'm just jesting with you, lad. No offense meant, and I hope no offense was taken. I'm Ebb.
Greetings, Ebb. His handshake is firm.
Now, I hereby tender my apologies for the unfair jesting, lad. Hope no hard feelings. Can I buy you a tankard or two of something to smooth any ruffled feathers?
Sure, why not? I mean, it wasn't exactly a mean joke.
That's the spirit, lad. Bide a moment.
He rises to his feet and heads to the bar. After a moment, he returns to his seat with a pair of tankards.
There you go, lad. Drink up.
He takes a massive swallow from his own tankard, puffs on his pipe, and says,
What can old Ebb do for you on this fine sigil day?
Oh, I had some questions about this place.
Oh, well, I gathered that just to look at you. I mean, you don't look like you're from around these parts, lad. You look a little too out of sorts to be a seasoned native.
Ebb chuckles and takes another drink.
So what can I help you with, lad? You need to know the lay of the land.
Who are you first?
Ebb Creeknees, third measure of the harmonium, now retired and being a tout with one's voice, since I don't step as lightly as I might these past 2 or 3 decades.
He chuckles.
Now, lad, who be you, and what trouble might you be in?
Third measure of the harmonium. Ebb puffs up slightly and I'm feeling a little phlegmy right now. I just had a quick snack and I don't know, maybe I ate too fast.
Aye, third measure of harmonium.
He relaxes a little.
Though I haven't served a tour of duty in many a decade.
Pushing a quill
wasn't quite up my alley after all the fights and skirmishes I'd been in, so I just bide my time keeping tabs on things down here in the hive and helping out a little where I can. And you look like someone who might need a hand. Are you in some kind of trouble, lad?
A few troubles. I woke up in the mortuary and seem to have forgotten who I am.
Eh?
Ebb blinks and frowns.
What was that you said, lad? You woke up in the mortuary?
Ebb studies you closely.
Oh, now did they mistake you for dead under all them scars, mayhap?
Ebb chuckles.
Can't say I would have been any smarter.
He puffs his pipe.
Them dusties being a rude term to refer to them pale-faced fellas, and I don't mean them too much disrespect. They have all the perceptions and friendliness of a gravestone sometimes, eh? Can't say I couldn't see them screwing that up, no, lad.
That's what I've heard. I had some other questions. I am missing a journal.
You're missing a journal? Was there more to the journal than just pages and words? Otherwise, I can't imagine too many bloods who would bother themselves with letters unless it was really hot and spicy. Not much use for books of learning around here. I don't know where you might find such a thing. Ed puffs on his pipe, then snaps his fingers. But you know, lad, if Farad is the one who scraped you off of the Sigil Street, then he might know the dock of where your stuff is. It's most likely in his larder, if you ask me. A dead man is usually in no position to keep his possessions when the collectors tumble across his body.
I know a lot about Farad already, but what can you tell me about him?
Well, now, I don't know everything there is to know about old Farad, but I know some of the dock surrounding him. If you're determined to track down that spider and nail him to a wall, then I suppose I could spill some of the chant so you know what you're tangling with.
He pauses to tamp his pipe.
Farad dug his nest deep into Ragpicker Square not too long ago. Got a bunch of collectors and gangs together and started what one could almost consider a collecting faction. Be that as it may.
Well, where can I find him?
Well, lad, if you're looking for Farad, which I would say is pretty balmy of you, you're a little off the beaten path. You want to be finding Ragpicker Square. Chant is that Farad set up his kip somewhere in the square. Even an old fella like me who's been around the ring a few times don't know exactly where. I figure that Farad wants to keep the dock of his location dark. If you're all bound and determined to find Farad, go to Ragpicker Square and try to dig up Farad's location from some of the locals. Try and be careful about it, since there's plenty in the square that would make a gut hop out of you if you as soon as look at you.
I had some other questions. Well, we already really know what this place is, and I don't really need to find out more about Sigil. What other places can you recommend?
Well,
Ed puffs on his pipe and studies you.
this is perhaps the best kip you could have wandered into from the start, judging by your tattoos. You might be partial to having designs in your body, in which case is a tattoo salon a little spyward from here. You want to stay away from the Alley of Dangerous Angles if you can. Ignis torched that place not long ago, and ever since a bunch of bad bloods have set up their kip in that stretch of desert.
About that. Nothing, I suppose. Farewell. Alright, let's see. Mercy Killer Patron. Hello. You see a lad who barely looks a day over 18. His face seems to betray some tension.
Help you, Cutter?
Who are you?
I'm Caleb. I'm a Mercy Killer. I'm here with Tarner and Ilsidon to catch my first criminal.
What can you tell me about the Mercy Killers?
Well, I have to get used to saying that now. Believe that justice is the most important thing in existence. I believe that without justice, there's no meaning, and without meaning, we might as well just go off and kill ourselves. I don't want to kill myself, so I decided justice is the meaning. If you want to know more, you ought to ask one of these other two, or find one of our recruiters. They'll talk your ear off.
I might go do that. Answer some questions for me first, will you? I'm looking for a journal. Have you happened to see one recently?
A journal? Sorry, I'm still new here. So I'm not all that connected yet. If I see one, I'll let you know.
He looks around the bar. What are you doing?
Well, seeing as I'm a new Mercy Killer, I'm supposed to bring a criminal to justice to show I can handle the field work. I decided I wanted to catch a killer. So we asked around, and we got told he was going to be here. Still haven't seen him, though. I'm a little nervous, to tell the truth. If you'll excuse me, I really ought to go get looking at the faces here again.
He cranes his neck and looks around the bar. Just a few more questions, and then I'll let you go. Has your killer shown up yet?
No, not yet. But Tarna says that this is where the criminal's supposed to come, eventually. So now we play the waiting game.
Alright, good luck. Farewell. We've got someone named Decon here. The man before you is old. His dry, yellow skin has the scars of one who has traveled everywhere and never rested long in any one place. His pinched face is inhumanly angular, and his ears sweep out from his skull, tapering to points. He wears a loose-fitting orange tunic, and a strange shimmering blade is strapped across his back. The blade looks to be a two-pronged glaive, made of some metal whose surface swirls like a film of oil on a pond. Greetings! The man turns to you, his eyes like polished coal. He stares through you for a moment. You wonder if he might be blind. The weapon suddenly turns a dead flat black, mirroring the man's eyes. Are you alright?
Hail, traveler.
He says nothing for a moment, merely searches your face with his eyes. His voice is quiet and somber, like a wind whispering through the branches of a great tree. Howdy!
Your eyes are the weight of one who has traveled far to be in this place.
You could say that. The man meets your gaze, his eyes burrowing into yours. His weapon drains of its black color, resuming its shimmering... its shimmering you noticed before you spoke to him. The man's gaze does not waver from yours. I am known as Decon. The emphasis he places on the word known strikes you as odd, yet familiar at the same time. You are not known to me. I do not know myself. That is for the best, in knowing yourself. There would be little in the plains left worth knowing. He falls silent for a moment, still studying you with his cold black eyes. I would know why you have come to the city. I'm looking for answers. I have many questions. For example, do you know how many licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Why are you looking at me that way? Speak your questions. I will hear you. Well, I already asked you one. Your features are unfamiliar to me. What are you? A Githzerai. A Githzerai? A Githzerai is one of the people. Ooh, one of the people? A Githzerai. Yes, but what are the Githzerai exactly? Thanks for the explanation. It clears up a lot. Decon is silent for a moment, then speaks. Our history does not need to be made known to you. We would bleed to death on Time's blade before I recited a fraction of the histories of our people. Well, I don't need to know your histories, but I would know of your people as they are now. Decon is silent for a moment. Know this and accept it as an answer. We are the people who make our home upon the shifting plane of limbo. With a deft motion, Decon slips the blade from his back and holds it before him. Okay, let's see what happens. There we mold the matter of limbo with our minds. We forge cities with our thoughts. As you watch, a series of rippling waves of metal begin to roll forth from the center of the blade. The pitch and crest of the waves match the inflections of Dacon's voice. In its chaos we dwell with only our knowing to preserve us. We are the Githzerai. What is that blade you have? It moved, shifted in response to your voice. Yes, way to be dumb, Nameless One. It is a crotch blade. It is an object that lets others know the rank of the the wielder. Crotch? What does that mean? Decon falls silent for a moment, as if searching for the correct words. In your tongue, the closest translation is chaos matter. The people may shape it with their thoughts. Shape it with their thoughts? Karach is not shaped by heat, but by knowing oneself. It is a mirror that reflects the will of the wielder on its surface and in its edge. When one knows themselves, the blade is strong, harder and stronger than steel. When one does not know themselves, the blade is as water, formless and weak. What rank does the blade signify? I'm not going to ask if he's willing to sell it. I'm pretty sure he's not. The blade is a symbol carried by the Zerth. A Zerth is one who knows the words of Zerthamon. In knowing the words of Zerthamon, they know themselves. Zerthamon? Zerthamon founded our race. He knew the Githzerai before they knew themselves. He defined the people. He gave them one mind. I hope we get a possibility to ask him, hey, are you related to Gith Yankee? just to see what his reaction would be. That would probably be bad. I had some other questions. Can you tell me about the city? It is known by the name Sigil. Among the people, it is known as the city that does not know itself. It doesn't know itself? What do you mean? The city exists, but it does not know itself. In not knowing itself, its existence is flawed. Well, that's fascinating, sir. How is it flawed? The city exists in opposition to itself. It has set itself apart from the planes, yet it seeks to be everywhere at once. Its walls are doors, yet it keeps these doors locked. Such an existence tells of a thing that does not know itself. In not knowing itself, it is flawed. When you say the city is everywhere at once. Truth. What if the city is not flawed? A thing does not need to be ordered and to have a purpose to know itself, what if these contradictions are strengths that you cannot see? What if the city is not flawed, and you just do not know the reasons for its contradictions? There is order in everything. Perhaps there is an underlying pattern that you cannot perceive. I like both of those. We'll go with the first one.
To your question, a question. What if the city is flawed and you see its contradictions all around you?
Truth. To your question, a question. You claim the city's existence is flawed. You have accepted this rather than explore the possibility that something greater may exist. That suggests you are flawed, and that you do not search for knowledge, but only for a convenient answer.
Ah, I like that.
Decon falls silent.
There is no knowing the answer to the questions we have asked, yet the city exists. That is all.
Yet I would maintain that we know ourselves by the questions we ask and the ones we do not. If we cease asking questions and accept only what we can perceive... Ooh, 500 experience points.
Then we will cease to know ourselves.
Decon's voice has changed slightly, become heavier.
Such words have been spoken before. I have heard them and know them.
Where have you heard them?
The words are mine. Once I knew them and knew their meaning. I had forgotten them until you spoke.
Decon's gaze travels through you, and his blade stops shimmering, bleeding all of its color until it is translucent. There's a moment of silence, and Decon looks up at you.
I would travel your path with you.
Ah! I accept. An extra blade would be welcome. Yay! Our first party member other than Mort. Sorry, Mort, you don't count for that.
Your path is mine.
Strangely enough, his voice seems distant, and it echoes as if he was speaking from across a great distance. Very well, let's go. Party time! Achievement unlocked. Endure and enduring, grow strong. Okay. Alright, so we've got Decon. He is a fighter mage. He has the Unbroken Circle of Zerthamon. Usable only by Decon. This small round stone is the Unbroken Circle of Zerthamon. The Unbroken Circle is a Zerth religious text containing the teachings of Zerthamon, the founder of the Githzerai people. The circle is made up of a series of interlocking circles that fold out from one another, depending on which branch the reader wishes to follow in their path of teachings. It is said that some Zerths spend years poring over the combination of plates, looking for new significance in the teachings. I don't recall the name Zerthamon, but then again, I know far more about the Githyanki than the Githzerai. Decon seems to use the text as a means of focusing his spellcasting abilities, for he pores over the tablet occasionally, memorizing the words. Oh, so it's basically his spellbook. I can use it, apparently. He has a Whispering Flask, invokes Aid, +2 to Strength, usable only by Githzerai. Alright. He has Decon's Zerth Blade, 2 to 9 slashing damage, +1 to armor class, +1 to hit. On the Githzerai's home plane of Limbo, solid... it's Chained Blade. Solid matter is sometimes something of a rarity. Limbo itself is a soupy mass of elements, and only through force of will can the Githzerai shape these elements into stable matter. A substance called Karach is a material that can be shaped with the mind. Decon's blade is composed of this substance. Through mental discipline alone, Decon maintains the integrity of the blade. He can shape it slightly depending on his skills, adjusting its length, sharpness of the edge. Presumably, as he gains levels, he may be able to manipulate the blade in new ways. It is not known whether all Githzerai Zerth carry such weapons. Certainly, a weapon that depends on the integrity of the wielder would be entrusted only to those who had learned to discipline themselves. I wonder what would happen... I imagine that there's not going to be an effect in-game for this, but I wonder what would happen under a Confusion or a Feeble Mind spell. That should basically make them... these things disintegrate or become effectively useless. This blade appears to have special religious significance for Decon. Decon has wound a series of parchments around the hilt of the blade. These appear to be mantras dedicated to Zerthamon. He also has Decon Zerth Armor, armor class 5, weight 25, Decon's Ceremonial Zerth Armor. It is fashioned of interlocking metal rings, formed of the same substance that Decon's blade is made of. Unlike the blade, however, it does not appear that the armor changes based on the mental state of the wielder. The armor is worn over a padded red tunic, and spiked bracers and shoulder pads have been added to give greater protection to the arms and upper body. So it's basically a set of mail armor. Yeah, okay. While Decon's armor is similar to chainmail... Hold on a second. A little bit of food popped out from in between my teeth. Sorry if that's too much information. It is lighter and more flexible, allowing him to wield his sword more effectively. Furthermore, it seems that when the sword and armor are used in tandem, the armor becomes even more fluid. Whether this is a unique property of Crotch, or whether this is some magical effect of the two items, is unknown. So he's got tattoos. He does have a wrist. He can wear some rings for now that we can sell later. This is just to get them out of the way, out of our inventory. Let's see. You can wear this. It does not help. Alright, you can just hold it in your inventory then. Let's give you this. For now... Oh, you can't put that in your quick item slot. I don't plan to have him use any of these. I just plan to have him hold onto them so they're not taking up inventory space. Although this seems like something that's really good for a boss, eventually. It's interesting that the background changes. So he's got no earring and no eyeball options. Actually, let's go ahead and have you carry that for now. All right, so we've got a
Endure.
we've got our
Enduring, grow strong.
yes, exactly. There we go. So he's got 33 hit points, male Githzerai, fighter mage, strength 17, that's pretty good. Intelligence is only 13, though. Dexterity and constitution of 16, so that's pretty good. He is lawful neutral. That is odd. Okay. Oh yeah, let's take a look at this. Information, strongest creature killed, Ghoul. Favorite spell, Litany of Curses. Favorite weapon, Teeth of the Viper. Number of kills, 198. 65% party kills, 72% party experience. 34% party kill. Wow, Mort is definitely killing more than the Nameless One. Fist Irons is still his favorite weapon. Strongest creature killed, Ghoul. So apparently the ghouls must count as being more powerful than the were-rats, which is weird. I guess it doesn't take into account the unique ones either. So let's see. You got 5,000 experience points in each class. No special resistances. Edged weapon. Alright, and spells? Okay, I don't like how this is handled. Alright, so that's memorized. This is known. Alright, Reign of Anger. Never heard of this. Looks like they made up a lot of new spells for this game. Zerthamon's teachings allow the channeling of anger into streams of unerring missiles that quickly strike those that oppose you. The spell summons a magical missile that strikes its target unerringly for 3 to 6 points of damage, with no saving throw possible. In addition, the caster gains 1 extra missile, so it's basically just... This is literally just a better magic missile spell. Because magic missile is 2 to 5. Scripture of Steel. One of the earliest teachings of Zerthamon, this incantation reflects what knowing that flesh yields to steel... knowing that flesh yields to steel. achieves, bestowing a greater advantage to strike and the strength to resist damage. +1 to hit, +1 to saving throws for all creatures that are friendly to the caster in a 70-foot radius. So this is Bless. And it's better than Bless because it affects things that are in melee combat. Submerge the will. When the will is submerged, new strength is gained. The strength to endure and protect against adversity. With knowing the teachings of the third circle of Zerthamon comes greater protection against all forms of attacks. When cast, a magical orb of protective energy arises and protects the recipient from attacks from all directions. It bestows an armor class 2 against all attacks, and a +1 to all saving throws for 12 seconds per level of the caster. So that's basically a better armor or shield. Vilquar's Eye. Vilquar's Eye is branded upon the one who is foolish enough to cross the caster. Vilquar's short-sightedness becomes the target's vision, and soon the world is muddled and dark. If the target creature fails its saving throw at a -1 penalty. -1, wow. The creature will be struck with blindness and suffer a -4 penalty to its attack rolls and +4 penalty to the target's armor class. Okay, so that's just cause blindness. I feel like that's going to be better than Submerge the Will. I mean, he already has, he already has an armor class of 2. I'll need to rest before I can get that back, but it's fine. Power of 1. And from Gith, the Warrior Queen, came the knowing of oneself, and from the knowing came immense power. The spell increases a target's strength score by a certain number of points, or tenths of points above 18, which will still be qualified by race class restrictions. The spell cannot bestow a strength of 21 or greater. The bonus is as follows. 1d6 +1 for priests or rogues, 1d8 +1 for warriors, and 1d4 +1 for wizards. Okay, that's actually, I mean, it's basically, well, it's basically a better strength spell. Alrighty, well, we have a new party member, and I have not talked to you yet. You see a trim, muscular man dressed in clothing that is comparatively drab and mundane compared to most of the outfits you've seen in the city. He carries himself with an air of supercilious arrogance. He also looks dramatically out of place here. What do you want? Who are you? I am Alace, warrior of renown. Surely you have heard of me. Nope. Can it truly be? Can it truly be that none of this town have heard of me or my exploits? Alas, I shall have to prove myself all over again. And here I had thought my fame had spread across the world. You're probably not in the world anymore. What world are you from? I come from the city of Alaburn on the River Tame. Surely you have heard of its glories and wonders. No matter, no matter. This place is benighted and ignorant when it comes to the splendors of true cities. I am told that my land is what is called a prime by the denizens of the city. Though a prime of what, I don't know. How did you get here? I was chasing my old foe, the villainous lifeshade Tyr Tenelel. He pauses, waiting for acknowledgement, and then continues. He conjured his demonic magic and opened himself a doorway and hurled himself through it. Before he could flee me entirely, I threw myself after him and found myself here. Oh, I get it. You're one of the clueless. Let's not be rude. That sounds like quite an adventure. I had other questions for you. What knowledge do you seek? Who are the patrons of this tavern? I have met only the elderly Ebb Creekneys, who has been instructing me in the ways of the city and the plains. My foe's spell must have catapulted us far across the world, for I know of no plains near our former location. No, plains, as in planes of existence. They are planes of the imagination, of thought and belief. They're not physical prairies or grasslands, but other dimensions. I get it, you're clueless. Ooh, 250 experience points. A look of confusion passes across his face. I understand. What the old man said is starting to make sense. Excuse me, I must think this over. Farewell. Oh, no, we're not done yet. What can you tell me about this place? I do not know. When I arrived here, I realized I needed a place to regain my bearings. I imagined my Imagine my shock at discovering that even a simple tavern in this part of the world is populated by the eccentrics and crazies. I have truly been transported to a madhouse. Well, that certainly seems that way sometimes. I'd like to ask you a few more questions. I'm looking for a journal. Have you seen one recently? I'm afraid that I myself have been searching for such items. I am doing my best to reorient myself to this unfamiliar setting. And while I focus on small details in my attempt to do so, I must confess I have not been looking for journals of any sort. Alright. Let's see. No. Where are you from again? He doesn't actually mention his own world. That's a shame. I could have added that to Spelljammer! Right. You're a long way from home. Good luck and farewell. Alright. Let's go ahead and call this an episode here. When we return, we will continue to talk to the patrons in this shop. See you next time, everyone.